Wow, while MAGA Republicans are following Donald Trump's lead and ramping up the racist attacks against VP Harris, we have credible reports that it may be because Donald Trump is losing his mind. Literally, this article reads, Pelosi shares dire warnings she received on Trump's mental health. The former House Speaker has a new book in which she shares that she repeatedly got warnings about Donald Trump's health. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was warned by doctors and mental health professionals repeatedly about Donald Trump's health. And this article goes into detail about how Donald Trump has consistently displayed signs of cognitive decline, and they have culminated into this new birtherism 2.0 movement about VP Harris, where Donald Trump has apparently lost his mind so thoroughly that he can't hold two ideas in his head at once. And the two ideas are that VP Harris can both be Indian American and Black American at the same time. These are not conflicting beliefs, but Republicans are so thick, their skulls are so thick that they can't understand that. Before we break down this wild article from Nancy Pelosi, let's go over some of the Republicans' wildly disgusting attacks over the past day. As you guys know, Donald Trump had a disastrous event in Chicago yesterday at the National Association for Black Journalists, where he was grilled on his history of racism, and rather than apologizing, rather than acknowledging he made a mistake, Donald Trump immediately decided to double down at a rally, and of course, all of the MAGA sycophants followed suit. So we have a man who is losing his mind, who is actually suffering from cognitive decline at the top of the movement, and because of that, he doesn't even know the facts about VP Harris's life, and now we have people beneath him acting like they don't either. They are following his lead. Juanita Broderick said, in her own effing words, she's Indian, you know, like from India, and it's a clip of VP Harris talking to Mindy Kaling, and she says in the clip, I am Indian, but again, VP Harris's mother is Indian American and her father is Jamaican. These two things can both exist at the same time. I don't know how people can't wrap their head around people having two parents with different backgrounds. I mean, my dad is from Syria, my mom has German roots. These two things can exist at the same time. It's not quite comparable to being mixed like VP Harris is, but it's just, I don't know how Republicans don't understand this. Donald Trump himself, the leader of the Republican Party, said, crazy Kamala is saying she's Indian, not black. This is a big deal. Stone cold phony. She uses everybody, including her racial identity. So in Donald Trump's eyes, this is a big deal. This is one of the biggest deals facing our nation, and it necessitates a bunch of posts, a bunch of coverage at rallies, when in reality, it is just the simplest explanation ever, and it's really making me wonder, are Republicans like this stupid? I don't get it. Johnny MAGA, what a great name, says, Trump has the audience dying in Chicago, and it is them just supporting what Donald Trump said about, quote, I've known Kamala a long time. She was always of Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a couple of years ago when she turned black, and this got 13,000 likes. So don't let MAGA gaslight you into thinking that they're trying to back off of this. They aren't. Laura Loomer is the one who took it to a new level. She said, I have a copy of Kamala Harris's birth certificate. Nowhere on her birth certificate does it say that she is black or African. At Kamala HQ is a liar, and I won't even dig into this too much because it is all complete BS. I mean, Laura Loomer does not know what she's talking about. She is known for being a conspiracy theorist. She was the one who thought that President Biden died a few weeks ago. She was pushing the idea that President Biden died weeks back and that was being hidden by the Democrats. It was proven wrong, so she moved on to her next conspiracy. That is her whole grift. Steve D said, say what you want, but it takes balls the size of lemons to walk in there and say this to that group. Lots of critics on this app who haven't taken a bullet to the face or faced an audience like this as Trump has recently. I have my issues with him, but this is freaking boss. No, it is not. What takes balls, what a man would do is actually own up to your past mistakes, take accountability for your mistakes, or actually debate these journalists on the merit of what they're saying. It takes a whiny little weirdo freak to just throw insults over at the person. The final one is from who other than Ann Coulter. It says, yes, Kamala is a DEI hire, but keep in mind, Donald Trump couldn't even define what DEI was on stage. He kept trying to deflect and ask Rachel Scott, and when Rachel Scott asked him back, he didn't know. The Guardian obtained an advanced copy of Pelosi's book, The Art of Power, My Story as America's first woman Speaker of the House. And by the way, Nancy Pelosi is a legend. She did amazing as Speaker. The book will be released next week. In the book, Pelosi recounted what she was told by several, quote, doctors and other mental health professionals at a memorial service for a psychiatrist. And this is where it gets interesting. They told her that they were, quote, deeply concerned concerned that there was something seriously wrong with Trump, quote, and that his mental health and psychological health was in decline. Quote, I'm not a doctor, Pelosi wrote, but I did find his behaviors difficult to understand. The 2019 memorial was a service for Dr. David Hamburg, whom Pelosi refers to as, quote, a distinguished psychiatrist who served as the president of Carnegie Corporation. Pelosi elaborated further on her opinions of Trump's mental health. Before the Capitol riot on January 6, quote, I knew Donald Trump's mental imbalance. I had seen it up close. His denial and then delays when the COVID pandemic struck, his penchant for repeatedly stomping out of meetings, his foul mouth, his pounding on tables, his temper tantrum, his disrespect for our nation's patriots, and his total separation from reality and actual events. Exhibit A is him saying that the election was stolen with widespread election fraud when there was zero evidence. His repeated, ridiculous insistence that he was the greatest of all time, Pelosi wrote, not to mention his repeated switching of names, like that of Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley, that of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Donald Trump has repeatedly exhibited signs of cognitive decline, but people ignore it because it's more fun to pick on President Biden, apparently. Pelosi also described how Trump's staff members, such as Mark Meadows, Trump's final chief of staff, allowed Trump to listen in surreptitiously on private meetings with congressional leaders, causing Pelosi to ban cell phones from her meeting rooms on Capitol Hill. I could totally see that. Donald Trump has so many loyalists in Congress, they want to give him the edge, give him the advantage and the leverage by letting him listen in on private meetings where he knows the inner workings. It is totally not fair and a breach of privacy. She also wrote about Trump calling her on the phone, sometimes late at night, including one where Trump told her that missile strikes he had just ordered against Syria were his predecessor Barack Obama's fault. Pelosi told him, quote, it's midnight. I think you should go to sleep. On January 6th, Pelosi said she was calm because she was, quote, already deeply aware of how dangerous Donald Trump was. She wrote that she realized that she had, quote, more respect for the office of President of the United States than Trump. Quote, it was clear to me from the start that he was an imposter and that on some level he knew it. I honestly think most criminals in the United States have more respect for the office than Donald Trump. Criminals not including Donald Trump, who is a convicted felon himself. Pelosi's remarks show that Donald Trump's ongoing cognitive decline isn't something new and, in fact, was noticed by those around him years ago. In recent months, he's confused members of Congress, fumbled during speeches, gone on incomprehensible rants, and not even been able to understand that VP Harris can be both Indian American and a Black American at the same time. The fact that this is one of the largest politicians in America right now saying crazy Kamala, saying she's Indian, not Black, this is a big deal. It is totally disgusting, and this is the type of stuff that breeds, that emboldens hatred and racism across the country, and you can bet your bottom dollar we will see a spike in racism over the next few days to weeks to months as this election ramps up. I can guarantee MAGA Republicans will continue to follow in Donald Trump's footsteps and launch racist attacks against VP Harris. That is all they know. That is what their instincts tell them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button. We have an Adam Mockler subreddit and Adam Mockler Discord. I am selling merch in the first link in the description below. Make sure you go click it. Most importantly, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.